Welcome, welcome to the quantum light work, and it looks always different, doesn't it? It's like now this background, what is it? Oh my God, that's beautiful. So that's one thing that's always different. So what I'm sharing with you today is the quantum light work, and it's based on an idea of multidimensionality. All right, so today we look at the multidimensionality of time, and that sounds complicated, but actually this is more like about recognition of what is being shared than anything else. So it's not to increase your academic background or your, say, to nurture your intellectual information appetite. No. It has not much to do with it. The only parts of it that are going to be shared with you in relationship with anything that you could say is scientific about this is, say, chosen very purposefully to go beyond it and to experience something that is very familiar to yourself. That's why we do this, not to increase our intellect, but to go beyond it. And there's a lot of material available to, say, to still the appetite for more academic intellect. And we use some of that, but like I said, just as a little step up to launch ourselves into a whole new experience for ourselves. And we do this today hand in hand with a miracle principle or two, and with one expression of master teacher, explaining or exemplifying, so explaining 10-dimensionality of time. Now, that's great. So we know, like the fourth dimension, you go out of time. Fourth dimension, 3 dimensions is this here. Here in the sense of an idea of a 3-dimensional world of space, time, form, separate forms, objective forms. And all of that dissolves almost immediately if we dive a little bit into science to see that, in fact, there's already proof that none of this is the way that we see it, or that we are familiar with it, or that we were familiar with it since we're already practicing the quantum light work. You're familiar with the non-substantiality of matter. Like matter is basically space, but we don't recognize it like that. Now, that's one part. So another part is, and this is what we train in the mind training, for instance, is recognizing that what we are thinking has an effect on what we are seeing and how we are experiencing it. Now, what is that? What is the thought? What is the frequency of the thought? What does it make, or what happens with it? Does it create actually? And does it do something? Well, if you look at your world, you can see that your ideas are doing something. Like you create, you make a whole world. You make a world. As soon as you change your mind, this world already looks different. Now this is going on continuously. So it's like nothing I see means anything. Okay, yes, but I also don't have any neutral thoughts. My thoughts always create in some way, whether that's the spiritual or whether that's the physical, one or the other. So you see that with your mind, the thoughts that you are thinking have a certain frequency. Now, a lower frequency or material frequency of thought, you could say, is the 3-dimensional way of thinking. It thinks in terms of solidness, fluid or gaseous. It thinks in terms of objects, separate objects, distance, time, color, form, this kind of thing. Particles, not to forget. Like we think in terms of particles. We think that something is solid, a solid particle. And so, like I said, the thinking, how we think literally with what we think, you could say, with what you are thinking determines what you are seeing. You think with your human mind frame of reference, your human frame of reference, you think with that. The consequences are that you see like that. So it's like you determine the filter through which you can observe, the way you can see it. You literally formulate the filter through which you are so-called looking, but actually it's not looking, it's image making. So you're actually observing your own images that you projected outwards. We called this the other day a hologram. So I'm always coming back to the basics, and it's good to repeat it. So a hologram, what is a hologram then? You could say like the virtual space in which you are projecting ideas on almost like a surface, and you think that that is your reality. And so you really think you live within this bubble that you created with your ideas by putting it out there, not recognizing where it really comes from, and that was this place. It starts with you, what you are thinking, and the quality of thought that you are thinking. So the quality of thought has everything to do with the frequency, the vibration of it. Now you can say like, okay, so I want to think high, bright ideas. I want to think high, bright energy ideas. How am I going to do that? Now these and more questions you will find, say, coming closer to you as an answer, recognizing that something can take place in which you, say, are not thinking, so to speak, your own limited thoughts, but in fact joining with, we call it in the, say, terminology of the Course in Miracles, it's like we think with the mind of God. You could say like the original mind of the universe is high frequency, multidimensional thinking. No limitation, no time and space, not anything like that, no duality, no black and white, no contrast, no opposites. No, it's a matter of thinking with your whole mind. This thinking with the whole mind is where the frequency is high and where you can actually experience yourself alive. Now there is only one moment in science, you see this too, it's like there's only one moment in which that can occur. And to exactly say enter into that moment, you could say, would be a miracle. So this is literally like what happens with practicing A Course in Miracles. It's exactly what you're practicing. How can a miracle occur? Getting out of the way, becoming miracle-minded, allowing something else to occur, and not under your conscious control. No, of course not. It's going to be given. The universe determines, you could say. The universe determines when that is going to happen and when you are actually entering into the present moment. Now, entering into this present moment is something else. It's a practice. It's a practice of remembering the last thing you would expect. Like, this is a practice of remembering. And when are you what are you remembering? You could say the present moment. So it's a present memory. It's a memory that is actually alive only in this moment. This is where you can receive that. This is where everything becomes clear about, it's like about what you are, in fact. This is where the place and time, where place and time come together in one moment of eternity. Now that eternal moment is not three-dimensional. It is not only four-dimensional, it is 10-dimensional. And maybe even 11-dimensional. So we go step by step today. First, starting with getting some help to move from form into light, moving from time into this present moment by some healing sounds, frequencies, colors, say in time change that is occurring that actually ends up in it's like an infinite amplitude, you could say. So it's like the frequency goes like this, but now in this one moment the amplitude, instead of it being a wave, the amplitude is infinite. So this is what a miracle is. It's a sudden shift into invisibility. This is like, you don't hear this every day, but actually that's the whole occasion. So we take time today to look at every aspect of this, is what I'm actually sharing in this introduction. Like, we look at every aspect of it in a very illustrative way. So starting with the meditation. So I'm sharing that with you. There are no words connected to it, so it's purely vibrational, you could say, vibrational, whether that's visual as color, whether that's sound. And I would suggest to put up your headphones and turn it up pretty good so that you can hear it, say, very direct into your ears. That would, say, help the whole experience to be complete. Thank you for your patience with me. It's great. It's awesome. So, like I said, the great thing with this, you could call this a color sound meditation. I don't really care how you call it. See, the thing that I try to say express here is the particleization that was present in the beginning, the form, the body, the stars, even the running, all this combined with the sound of it's like there are different instruments playing at the same time who have snares, who are mechanically being activated, and that's slowly but certainly stops and is being taken over into a frequency, into a sound frequency that still has some kind of texture, but that becomes smoother and smoother until there's literally like only a sinus wave left. It's like there were two sinus waves actually at work in this. Now, what is a sinus wave? Well, it's a frequency. So it's like the frequency that is being shared is very smooth. It doesn't have really like any kind of texture. It's very smooth, just like light is smooth. Now, I'm trying to share this with you in a way that is, say, doable to get it. And it is for me like beautiful to see how this comes together with a confidence. I can tell you this, the confidence from which I speak has been given me. So in that I trust all the ingredients that are being shared in the way that I'm using them. Not per se in what they directly tell you, but in how I'm going to use it. So this I'm saying as an, don't forget this while I'm sharing the video. It's like we're going to watch 3 videos today, short ones. One who is really beautiful in the expression of what is actually then a string theory, what is actually then an quantum ballet, or what are the 11 dimensions. So I use these expressions that ones have put together in a very beautiful way as illustrations for what I'm going to use later on. So that's good to know. I'm always saying these things. I cannot be clear enough in what I'm actually doing here, because that is so beautiful, but also so very new for me, at least, to express it this way. And in my preparation for this, I see how well this comes together. All of it comes together so beautifully, and you will see that too, hopefully. All right, so. I love this. It's so beautiful how he made it, of how this is made. So that's great. It's warming up. So string theory, keep that in mind. String theory. Okay, it's a theory. It's not proven, but we'll see further. That's great. All right, so one more to go. So this is good gymnastics for your quantum mind. So let's start a ballet, quantum ballet. See if I can find it. Yes, indeed. There's more. endless of these movies, but I love them because they bring you into an idea of this. It's like, okay, it might not be like perfect science or anything, but there's a real, you recognize the vibration of it. So there's a creativity and something is happening that you recognize, and this is really important. So it's like the quantum light work, as we practice it here, is really about opening your mind to these phenomena. Not that these phenomena are the truth, but more like distancing yourself from it, saying like, oh yeah, that's for scientific ones, that is for this and that is for that, would immediately say, you would immediately miss it, what is actually being given. So the quantum light work is really the invitation of that. Like, keep your mind open, allow something else to see. There's more to see to the eye than the eye can see. Like, I want to look beyond my filters, right? I want to look with true perception. Well, true perception cannot be defined in three-dimensionality, so it must be going beyond it. Now, this is really an, I would say, beautiful exercise in that sense. So the funny part is the recognition of that you can engage, in fact, your whole mind, your wholeness. You can engage that in the way that you see, in the way that you feel, in the way that you know, and that, yeah, in that direction we're going in receiving all this. So it's like all the limitations that you can come up with in not, say, diving into this, thinking like, well, no, that's just for scientists, or that you should know a lot about quantum physics, or you do this or that, is in fact not true, because you see represented, like if you include it in as part of yourself, you see that it was already part of you. That's why you recognize it. That's why it speaks to you. It resonates with you, or whatever it does with you. Even a resistance is a resonance. You know, resistance is recognizing it too, but say deliberately saying like, that's not mine. Well, in that you confirm how much it is yours. So like resistance is useless in this, is what you recognize too, because in oneness there is no say duality, there's no opposition. So you can say like the quantum force that is running you, that is flowing through you, is a universal singular power that is yours. Like it already belongs to you. You are part of it. And by you denying it, okay, then you live in your bubble denying it. Great, you can do that for a while and try to be satisfied with it, but it will not satisfy. See how much this can be used in the same teaching, in fact, as what we are in with, whether that's say the Infinite Way or A Course in Miracles. It's like you recognize that you cannot cut yourself short with this and thinking that you're okay with it. No, it's like in the inclusion, in recognizing that there's just one of us and it's whole and it's perfect, everything can become perfect. Your memories can become perfect, your body can become perfect, your mind can become perfect, whole and perfect, because it is its original state, you could say. It's like the only part of it that is real. Now this is why I love to use this in our awakening, in our transformational process, because it's playful, it's illustrative, it is absolutely not in relationship with human law. Like, that's one thing that everyone knows about quantum physics, you could say, or quantum principles, is like it has nothing to do with the way that you were educated in school even, or how you have seen the world before, like as a three-dimensional space where you are born as this separate identity growing with however you grow up, and then moving through time and space in a struggle to survive and blah blah blah, whatever you make of that drama. It's like that story is not true. So the fact that we're actually looking at a language that comes, say, so close to, say, to reality, that there's an overlap happening. You can literally come into a quantum experience. You can literally shift out of time. You can literally enter into a dimensionality that is brand new to you, that is so, say, different that we call it, like in our experience of ourselves, the alternative. Now this, of course, is also, and you feel it coming in, maybe, if you're familiar with the master teacher, you recognize that some of his language is, say, combined with what I'm sharing with you. And that's, of course, because I was a student of him, and using what he taught on a daily basis to share. Because there's great recognition with the potential that it has for an experience of something that has nothing to do with your limited definition of yourself. That's why it's miraculous. That's why it's a miracle. That's why we say, like, yes, this is a quantum light work meeting. All right, so let me see, how are we doing? Okay, we're good. So I'm going to pull up now some miracle principles and some expressions of Master Teacher that have to do with the multidimensionality of your true being. In a very original way. I never heard anyone share it like this. So that's why I thought, yeah, it's time. It's time to share this in the beginning. Dimensions of time. Miracles. This is literally an expression from the Urtext and from the Blue Book of A Course in Miracles. Miracles are part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which, when completed, is the atonement. Miracles are part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which, when completed, is the atonement. So the fact of forgiveness is then obvious here. It's like the idea of forgiveness here is literally, say, knowing where the original thing happened, like where you started to project. Where is the projector, you could say, is at the tip of, you can point your index finger on the tip of your nose. It's like, oh yeah, it's starting here. Everything I have, say, for my sake, I forgive, and which actually then becomes an expression of forgiving is allowing a change of mind, not holding on to your ideas, like a continuous process of letting go of what you think is going on, or how anything is looking, in order to experience what already is, which is the atonement, like the at-one-ment, the oneness. So miracles are part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which, when completed, is the atonement. So miracles actually then help you to shift out of this limited perspective of yourself as a moment of recognition of your true essence, as in seeing that, oh yes, I'm the dreamer of the dream. Oh yeah, it starts with me. Oh, if I let go of this idea, I suddenly find myself in an do this. It's like, if I let go of my idea of what I think is going on, actual healing takes place. It's like I'm entering into a different experience of myself that is given to me just because I allow the space. Like I step back out of where I was holding on to. I step back out of it, allow a change to occur. And this change comes by itself. It's given from out of this three-dimensional definition of myself. Since I let go of it, now it can come to me. And I allow the space, and there can it be. But it's given, it's not under my conscious control. The only thing that is under my conscious control is that I actively get out of the way. It's like, okay, that's not it. What I thought about this situation, what I thought about what life is, or what my true being is not what it is. Any definition I hold about God is not what it is. So this is like, It is a continuous, an interlocking chain of forgiveness. It's a continuous letting go, realizing there is space where the miracle can happen. Atonement, here's an expression about oneness or atonement. Atonement is in fact the undoing of you because you decide to step outside, like getting out of the way for truth to enter into your consciousness. So atonement works all the time and in all dimensions of time. So this miracle that just happened had nothing to do with time. It was a sudden shift into invisibility, out of the three-dimensional definition of yourself. And that's why it heals, because you are not in the frequency of this dense three-dimensional idea about yourself. That's why it heals. So you come into, say, a bright idea about yourself. You literally come into a whole different experience. We call it like Christ experience, glimpse of oneness, however you want to call it. So atonement works all the time and in all dimensions of time. It is not ruled by time. You can move dimensionally anywhere you want in your whole mind. So when you allow your mind to be whole, if you allow that to take place, you can move anywhere. Like space is yours. You can move anywhere you want. Like it is not a three-dimensional definition anymore. You're not limited by the restrictions of a three-dimensional body. No, we're talking here about whole mind. Like that what recognizes the truth of itself. Using the 9 dimensions of time, you can move dimensionally anywhere you want in your whole mind, using the 9 dimensions of time, which are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? Three-dimensional Father, three-dimensional Son, three-dimensional Holy Spirit. Putting them together in 9 dimensions of time, plus time itself. Nine-dimensional is that each one, Father, Son, and Spirit, contains the other 2, since they are whole. They are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But the Father, as well as the Son, as the Spirit, contains the other 2 too. That makes 9 dimensions of time. The 10th dimension is time itself, or the whole association. And there's a reason for that. Let me see. Oh yeah. Everything in perceptual mind, like the three-dimensional mind, is expressed in 3. That's coming into death, being here, or being in death, and getting out of death. It's like, I'm on the cross, I die, I'm here on the Saturday, this Saturday, you could say. On Friday, I hang on the cross. On Saturday, I'm laying myself down into the grave. And say on Sunday, I'm getting out of it. I'm resurrecting. So it's like this is the three-dimensional expression that we're familiar with, related to, say, the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. But everything in perceptual mind is expressed in 3, based on those 3 basic ideas, is what Master Teacher says here. Otherwise, you would be in a single point. This is the expression of the new string theory of the relationship of particle and wave, that the universe finally has to be a string. That is, it has to have some dimension, which indeed it does. The point would be everything and would eliminate space and space-time altogether. Like it cannot be one point in that sense. It would eliminate space-time altogether. Now here it is, it has to have some dimension. It has to have, and there's a reason for that too. So this is what came to me. It's like in receiving this, and that is this. It's like in creation, which is your whole mindedness, like you're literally creating with God as one, with Holy Spirit dissolved into one with you. Creation then becomes like an expansion in all directions at the same time. Now that is only possible, that's only possible if there is something else than a point. Like if there would be just one point, then there could not be an expansion in all directions at the same time, which is like a definition of creation. So that makes it acceptable that there is such thing as a string theory, as we watched, like the guy that put it all out of one another and zoomed in until he got some vibrational structure like a string who actually is the vibration of the particle. So that's why there was a discussion a long time ago. It was like photons, light particles. Are they particles or are they actually light? Now, and they discovered, like, if you observe it, it becomes a particle. And if you don't observe it, it is just a vibration. If you take a deeper look at it, you observe it, you literally make a photon out of it, which would be like a light particle. But if you don't do that, then it can just be a vibration. Now, with the string theory, you could say, like, the smallest thought, the smallest idea is in that sense creating on a string level. This is not difficult. It's like you literally, if you have a three-dimensional dense idea about matter, then literally you allow this string idea to become a dense particle. You know, it's like you have the ideas about it. If I let go it, if I allow that to collapse back into a wave, then suddenly I'm free of that. It's not dense anymore, it's bright. So this is exactly where the basis lies for the quantum healing, or for the recognition of your miracle-mindedness, you could say. It is the same idea. Sudden shift into invisibility, not having this say, density of thought. No, allowing your mind to change. You're still using your mind. Like, you cannot not use your mind, whether your mind is whole or whether you see yourself as a restricted, limited mind, having the consequences of its own thinking in a three-dimensional, low vibrational thing. So even if the miracle is happening and you say, I step aside with my three-dimensional ideas about myself, so that what I truly am can speak for itself and just be there. You know, this is what is happening. So that is still happening in you, not in your limited frame of reference, but it's happening in you, because you're a whole part of this 10-dimensional system, you could say. And so the 3 dimensions and the triangles I put up here in the background, it's a yantra symbol used many times in the, say, Buddhistic tradition. And so I just wanted to put that as a background. Since I recognized the triangular shapes in it, I thought it was wonderful. It's like the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. See, it's always 3. In the human mind, thinking, symbolizing, there will always be 3. So that is that part. Now, yeah, I'm happy to express this in this way, because now it comes together for myself too. So it's like I am familiar with what Master Teacher said. When I listen to it, I can hear it, what he says, but to really just take time to take another look at it is very helpful, in the sense that it comes closer to myself. Like I recognize there's no need to distance yourself from it. No, if one is a great scientist or conscience, it is you. It goes beyond academic intellect. It goes beyond all of that. And not that it's better, no. It's like, that's not, there's no competition going on. There's no comparison. It is just, it's like when it's coming from wholeness, you recognize it. It only, it's like, calms you down. It only helps you to in fact, allow a different experience of yourself to come in. That's what I love about it. And that's the familiarity with it. And if you know that there's a different frequency, then the dense frequency of a three-dimensional conflictual definition of oneself, I would go look for it. I would do it. I would go look for it, right? So, of course you are with me, otherwise you would not be watching this. It's like you're in it. You're in it. We're in this quantum experience of coming to wholeness, coming to recognize the 10-dimensional association that we are, expanding in all directions at the same time, not even being able to define it, otherwise we would limit it. So it's an omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient definition, without a definition, you could say. If it is omni, if it is whole, it doesn't need to be defined. It is what it is. That's why we say, like, the I that I am, or what is. I love it. I love this. Beautiful. So great. So happy to share it with you. So thank you so much for listening to this, and I hope you enjoyed the examples and what is happening with you by listening to this and receiving this and recognizing this and joining with me in the recognition of that. That's where the fun is. It's so great. So thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, I will not say see you before you know it. It's like you know exactly when you're going to see me again. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.